start here shortly. Oh, I've already got it.
Okay, we're gonna get started. I want to begin by thanking the president of the Hamilton County Commission, Todd Fortune, for joining Tara Samples and I for this very important announcement regarding the infrastructure challenges which Hamilton County faces and the city of Cincinnati faces. We came here in full view of the Western Hills Viaduct to announce that the rebuilding of this viaduct, this $330 million project, will represent the top priority of our ticket. It'll be the top priority of our administration. This viaduct was built in 1930 and carries at least 50,000 cars a day. The rebuilding of the viaduct is a transportation and a safety issue. As people in Hamilton County know who've traveled this road, chunks of concrete have been falling from the viaduct. It's a safety hazard, but the truth is that with the concern about safety of bridges itself, the structural safety, this viaduct should have been rebuilt years ago. And I have to tell you, as someone who has studied the transportation funding budget of the state of Ohio, for the life of me, I don't understand why Cincinnati was left out with a project of this importance. So what I've done is to go over all the numbers. I know that the city of Cincinnati and Hamilton County have pledged $35 million each for this project. And I know that the state transportation budget has been silent. You've got to start down the road, but there's no finish to it, and no hope for a finish. Federal government isn't coming in. The city's done its part. Where's the state of Ohio? So I'm here to say that I've worked out a plan with Tara Samples that we're going to, as soon as we take office, Mr. President, we'll come down here and break ground for the rebuilding of this viaduct on behalf of the people of Hamilton County and the people of Cincinnati. By the way, I'm aware that Hamilton County is a donor county. It gives more to the state than it gets back. So how in the world Hamilton County was left out of the state transportation budget for purposes of this project, it's hard to explain. But I understand, and what I've done here is I've worked out the numbers. And the numbers make it very clear that we can finance this project beginning in January of 2019 by a commitment of $30 million from general obligation bonds, $30 million from the so-called rainy day fund, $15 million from Hamilton County, and $15 million from the city of Cincinnati, which has already been set aside. Now, somebody will say, why use $30 million from the rainy day fund? Folks, it's raining concrete. We have to realize that this is a safety and a transportation issue. So, Mr. President, I just wanted to give you our calculations here at how this can be funded. I'd really appreciate looking at it, and I think you'll see that the numbers work here, that we can get to the $330 million that are used for this project, that are needed for the project. And before I conclude, Tara Samples, my running mate, has a statement about the jobs implication here, because there's a lot of jobs at stake as well.
Absolutely. So the one thing that we want the residents of Hamilton County to know, that this will be a major job creator. We're talking about 7,000 jobs that will be created by the rebuild of the viaduct. And that is very important, that we take care of the residents of Hamilton County and making sure that they are given the jobs to support them, and making sure that home rule works for the residents of Hamilton County.
Thank you very much, Tara Samples. And I'd just like to conclude by saying that Cincinnati is one of the great commercial engines of Ohio. Hamilton County, as I mentioned, is a donor county to the state. and they're paying more in state taxes than they're receiving benefits. This is why we're here, to let the people of Hamilton County know that not only will they not be left out, but we're going to put this project first in line among all the projects in the state, because it's a safety issue, a transportation issue, and we've studied it, and it can be funded. This can be done, and we, Mr. President, intend to get it done. So may I give you the numbers here? I'd like you to check them out. If you have any questions about it, please get back to me and to Councilwoman Samples. I want to say that this will not be the last statement that we make about Cincinnati infrastructure issues. Some of the biggest infrastructure needs in the state of Ohio are in Hamilton County, Cincinnati area. And I want the people to know not only that we are aware of this, but that we intend to do something about it. So I appreciate it, Mr. President, and you know, I'm not looking for any comments from you, but if you wanted to say anything, it's fine.
Well, I'm very happy to say something. First of all, on behalf of the people of Hamilton County, which includes the city of Cincinnati and 48 other small cities, villages, and townships, thank you. Thank you, former Mayor and Congressman Kucinich. Thank you, Councilwoman Samples, for traveling across the state to be here in Cincinnati on this chilly February morning, but to give a little bit of warm sunshine to the people of Hamilton County as we look to the future here in Ohio. I will tell you that while people have been involved in the race for governor for a while, this is the first stop that any candidate has made in Hamilton County to talk about the major infrastructure needs of the people of Hamilton County. This bridge, sewers, anything else. What's great about what you have proposed, and I look forward to studying this very closely, sharing this with my commission colleagues, sharing this with the mayor of the city of Cincinnati and the council colleagues as well on this project. But what is so great about this is that this is also, while it's $330 million, the cost of this bridge today, what you have outlined in this plan is a way to provide full funding for the bridge within 4 years. That actually will allow us to expedite construction, to cut 2, maybe 3 years off the length of time to rebuild this bridge. And in doing so, this will save $70 million on the overall cost of the bridge. So when if the state of Ohio comes in and helps us out, which it should, and which it will, in the future, and I look forward to that day to stand with you and to break ground on this project. But if the state had come to us at any time and said that it would help in this project in a significant way, in a major way, which has not happened today, and you pointed out the problems in terms of Cincinnati and Hamilton County being left out of the transportation bill, we would be able to talk about how we could expedite construction, how we could save a lot of money. But that has not happened. And I look forward to that day when that will happen, and we not only will be able to benefit from this plan, benefit in the terms of the jobs that it will create, benefit in the terms of having one of the worst rated bridges in the state of Ohio finally on the road to fix and a total solution. Because as you know, the state, Columbus, the governor's office, it has declared war on local governments. They've been taking away funding from local governments. Councilwoman Samples knows this very well in the city of Akron, that the state seems to have declared war on local governments. We need a state. We need a state government. We need a governor who is going to be a friend to cities and a friend to counties. And what warms my heart on this cold day is that you've traveled across the state. You've braved the Western Hills Viaduct already. You traveled across it. And you are here today to offer this warm ray of sunshine with respect to what the people of Cincinnati and Hamilton County may expect in the future in a Kucinich and Samples administration.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mr. President. And is there any? Thank you very much. And we will. This is just the first analysis of an infrastructure project. There's 2 more that we'll be presenting in the next 10 days to let the people of Hamilton County and Cincinnati know that even though we're from up north, we understand the needs of people who constitute one of the great metropolitan areas in this state. So anyone have any questions at all? We got some representatives.
Mr. Kucinich, here in Cincinnati, whenever you mention transportation, it's like a dirty word. The streetcar had been allocated $57 million from the state in order to continue that process up into the hospital in the University of Cincinnati area, and Columbus took that away for some reason. We've been rebuilding the highways, and there's been talk of extending. In Cleveland, we have the rapid transit. Down here, they're building the new highway going all the way to the new bridge, to the Brent Spence, and no one has had any discussion about putting in any type of a transit system that would go from, say, Westchester, which is north of the city, or Kings Island, to downtown, and extending that to the airport the way that they did in Cleveland for the past, 40, 50 years.
Well, first of all, I recognize that Cincinnati's been left out of the equation with respect to state transportation funding programs. That's why Tara Samples and I are here. We recognize not only that there are bridges that need to be rebuilt. Brent Spence is a $2.5 billion project, which we'll speak to at another time, but also the mass transit concerns of people of Hamilton County. We should be thinking in terms of rail, not just intercity rail, but intra-city rail. Cleveland built a rapid transit line 60 years ago, and why would Cincinnati have to wait? Cleveland was able to do that through a variety of funds. I pledge here at this time that this is not, that our commitment to Cincinnati does not involve only, Mr. President, seeing this as the first transportation infrastructure project in the entire state of Ohio with the funds, with the funding program worked out to do it, but we're going to get into the mass transit issues, to bus lines, to rail, to connecting communities, to enabling disadvantaged people who rely on public transportation as a primary means of getting around to have a way to get to hospitals, to jobs, to schools. This is something we're going to pay attention to. This is going to be our priority as someone who, as a Cleveland councilman, worked on those transportation issues. I cut my political teeth on transportation issues as a member of council. I'm dedicated to seeing Cincinnati and Hamilton County put back in the equation. They're going to have a friend who knows how to get here, who knows how to get to Divida with some help from the president of the commission, by that. And that we will be here to meet with people in the community, to have meetings with people, to hear from them, to get their advice as to what the priorities ought to be. But when we're elected, it'll be a whole new ballgame, not just for Cincinnati, but for the state of Ohio. The motto of our campaign, Mr. President, is power to we the people. And if you really want to empower people, make sure the transit-dependent people are also part of the transportation equation. So we're going to take care of the car, the drivers, the people who are going over this bridge, the 50,000 people who are going over this bridge every year. But also not going to forget those who are transit-dependent.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned jobs. Is there an estimate in your budget that will talk about how many jobs may be created as a result of this project?
Yes. Well, Councilwoman Sample spoke to that, but may I elaborate? In 2014, there was a Duke University study that says that for every $1 billion of dollars of spending on a transportation issue, at least 21,000 jobs would be created. Now, using that Duke University study, we calculate that if you take $330 million for this project, and basically it's about a third of $1 billion, you know, minus 10, and that would put us in the ballpark of creating at least 7,000 jobs with this project alone. But we're not looking at only one project. People around this area and the state need to understand. Rebuilding Ohio's infrastructure is the #1 jobs creating priority. And so we intend to lead the way and do everything we can from all funding sources at every level to put Ohio back to work and to put people who are trying to find a way to make ends meet into the game so they can have a chance to put bread on the table, feed their families, have a roof over their head, have access to health care. This is all part of the grander equation of taking on projects like this, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
May I elaborate on that? Just
Please
add one thing to it.
Please do.
Just on the jobs question. In 2 hours, I'm going to be delivering the State of the County speech to the people of Hamilton County. And one of the 5 major issues that I'm going to emphasize in that speech is our transportation infrastructure and our need for a regional transit system, a system that really does serve the people of the greater Cincinnati area, that gets people to where the jobs are, that serves the needs of all people, especially those who are transit dependent, and that includes as well our people with disabilities. And believe me, I know how well and how important that issue is for the people in the greater Cincinnati region. But on the jobs question especially, public works projects, public infrastructure projects, things of that nature, public works projects put the public to work. There is no greater way to create jobs, construction jobs as well as the permanent jobs that are then created because of the access, the opportunities, the development that is made available as a consequence of those public infrastructure jobs, those public works projects. And as you know, the construction that you see going on around the Western Hills Viaduct here is a part of that. We cannot allow this bridge to be a bottleneck in connection with the neighborhood redevelopment that is occurring just to the west of the Western Hills Viaduct. This current bridge does not serve that community well at all. It does not serve Western Hamilton County well at all. It is not new transit capable. Those are all elements of what a new Western Hills Viaduct has to be. And a primary reason for that, aside from the safety issue and the fact that the bridge cannot handle the traffic, is because bridge projects like this, public works projects, public transportation infrastructure projects, are catalysts for economic development. It's not just the construction jobs, it's all the other jobs that come after better access is made possible through that work.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We will be in touch with your office to elaborate and detail, just as we detailed the way that will fund the Western Hills Viaduct. We'll be in touch with your office relating to how we believe Brent Spence can be replaced and deal with some of the very serious issues of the sewer infrastructure. So thank you very much for being here. Are there any other questions at all? Are we all set? Thank you for being here. And so kind of a cold day, but up north we call it spring. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.